conversation begins with the statement, raised on my father's knees. Yes, I was raised on my father's knees. Are you familiar with that statement? Were you by chance raised on your father's or on your mother's knees? You see, most of us weren't. Most of us don't understand this statement because most of us had a relationship where it was either a distance relationship. Let's be for real. Most of us are from single parent homes. And so my father wasn't there or my mother wasn't there. And even if you're in a home with both parents, they still raise you from a distance. So they didn't raise you with this cuddly atmosphere, if you will. They didn't put you on their knees and raise you like you probably need it. See, most of us need that. As a matter of fact, let's be for real. We all need to be raised on our parents' knees. Let me give an example. Have you ever seen someone and their children are always with them? A parent. Their children are always with them, no matter where they are, PTA meeting, at school, or at a bank, or at a social. They always have their children with them because guess what? They're teaching them. They're raising them on their knees. They're pouring into them more than just the birds and the bees and the flowers and the sea. They're teaching them business. They're teaching them how to be professionals. They're teaching them how to be gentlemen. They're teaching their daughters how to be ladies. See, there's all sorts of teachable moments. But we miss the biggest parts of those teachable moments because when our parents come home, more than likely they're shouting at us. They're, trying to get us to do chores and making sure we've done some things. But there's never a moment where they're taking us with them. We're traveling with them into these different avenues, if you will, of daily life, to where we're being taught how to handle ourselves, how to govern ourselves in front of other people. Now, they tell you what not to do, but they don't take you with them and show you what not to do or what to do. You see, a father really needs to sit his son down on his knees and make sure his son gets it. Make sure his sons understand how to be a gentleman. No, not no buzzwords. No. Forget that stuff. No, really teach them what it takes to be a man, what it takes to grow up in this world and to be successful. That's what we need. We need fathers who take the time out to show their sons what it takes to protect someone's daughters. Yes, it's a major blessing when my daughter dates your son and you have spent quality time with your son, teaching him how not to violate my daughter. Yes. Teaching him how to tell my daughter no when she's trying to say yes. See, we need to make sure that our sons don't start forfeiting their life before they even get started. If my son gets your daughter pregnant, they're both 13, he's just forfeited a whole bunch of his life. He doesn't have a clue what he just got himself into. But if I taught him, everything, not just some things, if I share with him the breadth and the depth of what it's going to take, if he mess up and make that type of mistake, exactly what it's going to take, I think he'd have a better understanding of not going there, even if she wants to go there. Yes, mothers, your daughters, let's be for real. You're raising them to be young ladies. You can't raise them from a distance. They need to be on your knees. They need to hear everything from the birds and the bees to the flowers and the seeds. I'm telling you, they need to hear the full gamut. Not just that little nursery riddle. They need to understand how it is to be a business lady, how it is to be in business as a female. So you've got to tell them, you've got to shore them up. But your life will not be fair. It's going to take some time for you to get to where you need to get, but you can get there. But you can't give up. You've got to press your way. Go get yours, but go get yours being a lady. No, don't forfeit your femininity to put on masculinity. No. Stay in your lane. Be focused. There's enough for you in this lane than to try to jump out of your lane and be someone else. I call that being distracted. Be careful being distracted. Be the lady who God has created you to be. Yeah, be wholesome. Yeah, be kind. But also, hey, be ready because you need to be equipped with the tools to be successful in this society. See, that's what I call being raised on your father's knees, being raised on your mother's knees, being raised on your parents' knees. That's where we all need to be. Go with me to the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6. Let's see what the Lord has to say about being raised on your father's knees. Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6 says it this way. Train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. What the Lord is telling us is, it's your job as a parent to train them up. It's not the school system. No. It's not their friends at school or their friends at work. No. It's your job as a parent. If you're going to have the child, you got to take care of the child. You got to train up the child. It's your responsibility. If you can't do that, then don't have the child. Let someone else have the child, but don't have the child. See, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. What it means is, when he gets older, he's going to have to take off on his own journey. And on his own journey, he's going to find some things that, he didn't realize could take place out in this world. So he's going to bump his head, or she's going to bump her head a couple of times. She's going to get off track. But guess what? You gave them a roadmap how to get back on track. So they come back on track pretty quick. They won't depart from it. That's what that means. They won't leave it. They won't get off the beaten path so far that they can't maneuver back over in the right lane. That's your teaching. That's your sound doctrine. That's what you've done for them to make them successful. How do you have a child and you don't give them the tools they need to be successful with? I mean, you'll go out and put all that time in your car, and you'll make sure you put the best equipment on your car to make sure your car is going to be successful when you crank it up in the morning. Well, make sure that your daughters and sons are going to be successful when they crank up by waking up in the morning, because you've given them all the tools they need in their toolbox. That's what that verse is saying. Train up a child in the way they should go. And when they are old, guess what? They won't depart from it. They will not leave your teaching. Yeah, it seems like they're not listening, but they are. They're always listening. They're always available for you to pour into them. It just depends on how you're doing it. Let me tell you what the Word of God is not saying, okay? Because most of us have come out of this whole, if you will, this line of being raised up by different family members. The Bible is not saying train up a child by verbally abusing them. No, it's not saying that. Train up a child by physically abusing them. Nope, it's not saying that. Train up a child by intimidating them. No, it's not saying that. Train up a child by making them fear you. No. That's not what it's saying. And it's definitely is not saying train up a child and vicariously you live your life through them. Yeah, what you couldn't accomplish, you go make them accomplish on your behalf. No. It's not saying that. It's not saying try to relive your life for your child. It's not saying that. It's saying train up a child. It's saying exactly what it's saying. Train up a child. Yeah, raise your child on your knees. And when they are old, they will not depart from your sound doctrine, from your firm teaching. Yeah, from teaching them the whole story, not just a piece of it, but the whole story. That's what it's saying. Train. I'm going to give you the Webster Dictionary definition for the word train. And then I'm going to give you a definition, but it's talking about a plant. Because I feel like we relate to plants. We're all plants in God's vineyard when you think about it. I think this definition already is more suitable for this particular message. Now, Webster says it like this, or the dictionary says it like this. Training is the action of teaching a person a particular skill or type of behavior to make sure that they are qualified, proficient in this particular skill. It goes on to say, training is teaching or developing in oneself or others any skills and knowledge or specific goals of improving one's capability, capacity, productivity, and performance. Now, those are beautiful. Those are good. But this one's where I want to latch onto. This one's about a plant, how you train up a plant. It says it's going to take some bending. So be ready for the growth. When the plants start growing, it's going to take some bending. It's going to bend. It's going to sway from side to side. And that's just like our lives. We're always swaying from side to side because we're not as flexible as we should be. So we need to make sure our children are flexible to understand that some things you're going to have to avoid in life. Yeah, some things you're going to have to dodge and duck in life. And some things you're going to have to confront in life. But they need bendability, if you will. I call that this new word, bendability. They need some bending, some flexibility in their life. It also says pruning. Now, we all need this one, pruning. There are some people in your lives who will go with you through certain seasons. I mean, your friends in elementary are not your friends in junior high. Your friends in junior high are not your friends in high school. Your friends in high school are not your friends in college. And your friends in college are not your friends after college. Now, most of them, you've cut them off because you pruned them because guess what? They were only meant to be with you for a season. And you figured it out on your own. And so that's what life is like. Life is about pruning. It's about pruning some people off, some things off. And watch this. It's about pruning some things off inside of you. Yeah, it's about getting rid of some things that's inside of you. Yes, you've got to cut out ego and pride and lust and jealousy and strife. Yes, and greed and vanity. There are some things you need to go in and carve out. Tying is the other word. Tying. You know, you tie a plant up to a long rod, if you will, so that it can grow straight up. And so some of us need what I call a support system. We need somebody who's there, some mentor, if you will, some friend who, whenever we're swaying a little bit, they can be the support system that we can lean on, that we can really depend on, that we can talk to and share our issues with before we go out and do something stupid. We all need someone who we can bounce some things off of, a support system, a strong support system, one or two individuals who we can confide in, who we know has our best interests at heart. So you've got the word bending, pruning, and tying when it comes to training. So are you training your sons and daughters with the bending method, the if you will, the pruning method, and the tying method, because it's all important. It's all important, each and every bit of it. Repeat this after me and remember this particular quote I'm going to give to you, because we're going to need this through this message, but we're also going to need this for our life. I want you to understand this. Who I am is where I am, because I am who I am for where I am. So as you look over your life and you look at the relationships or the relationship you have with your father or with your mother or with both of your parents, you realize that something was missing. And I think there's no better story in the Bible of a relationship than the story of King David and his son, Solomon. It's a relationship that I think we all wish we would have had, wish we could have had. And so don't fall short, though, in your own relationship with your sons and with your daughters, because you can glean from this story. You can glean from your life, and you can have your children, you can raise your children on your knees as well. But the story of King David and Solomon, of course, we all know about David and his accolades. David killed a bear. He killed a lion. He killed Goliath. David also killed all of Israel's enemies. I mean, David was a fighting machine. Of course, we know that David also committed adultery and some other things in his life. But David is raising Solomon. It's the most important part. Yeah, he has those accolades. He's done some things. He's not perfect. He's got some flaws. But he's raising his son Solomon on his knees, because David is the king, which means that when he passes away, his son Solomon will become the king. And so normally for a king, it's an honor to build God's temple. It's an honor. And David is next in line to build God's temple, to build God's house. But God shares with David, you can't build my house, David, because you have too much blood on your hands. Now, you know that David was, he was heartbroken. Let's be fair. He was devastated. I mean, it's an honor for a king to build a house, so to be told, no, you're not going to be the one to build it, that's some bad news. That's like Cain finding out that his gift, his offering wasn't pleasing it unto the Lord. And so therefore he got so upset. We know he killed his own brother. David's not going that far, but David is upset. David is definitely depressed. But David wakes up right in that moment. David says, Lord, basically, I know your no is a no. So let me ask you this question. Can I help my son? Can I raise my son on my knees? And can I help him build your temple? Can I give him the instructions, if you will? And the Lord said, yes, David, of course you can. You can give him the instruction, because that's what a father should be doing. He should be training up his son. He should be raising up his daughters on his knees. Yes, giving them something so when they're old, they won't depart from it. That's what that verse is meaning. So God says yes. And so if you know anything about David, David already had, keep in mind, David had already taken all the things needed to build the temple. He had the wood, all the lumber. He had all the marble. He had all the stone. He had all the nails. He had all the brass, the gold, the silver. You name it. He had everything for the outside and the inside. David had a network that he had a fellowship with over the years. He had defeated all of Israel's enemies, so he had all of their stuff. And it was just ripe for the taking, and it was ripe for the building of the temple. And so David instructed his son Solomon on his knees how to build the Lord's house. Now we know about Solomon. Of course, everyone knows Solomon had 900 wives and concubines, and Solomon asked God for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And so I've always been kind of concerned, how did Solomon come up with that? How did he come up with such a powerful request versus asking for money and power like most of us would? And then I got to read in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verses 1 through 9. I won't read it, you read it in your spare time, but let me tell you what Solomon is saying, because Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs, and his father, King David, wrote the book of Psalms. These are two bad men. Solomon tells us in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verses 1 through 9, he tells us that his father, as a matter of fact, Proverbs chapter 4, all the way to Proverbs chapter 12, King Solomon is talking about his father, King David, instruction, how he raised him on his knees and all the information he gave him. He told him about his whole life. He didn't leave anything out. And so we should neither. We should be telling our children about our entire life, not taking a page out of the book, giving them the whole book, the Old and the New Testament. That's what King David did. Solomon is telling us that my father told me to ask for understanding, watch this, knowledge and wisdom. Did you know that? It just didn't come out of the thin air for Solomon. No, his father instructed him. When you go before the Lord, when the Lord comes, this is what you ask for. And he told him a whole lot of other stuff to ask for. Go read it for yourself. Proverbs chapter 4 all the way to chapter 12. David gave him the instructions on how to be successful. I pray that we're taking the time out to make sure we teach our sons and daughters how to be successful. Yes, you might not have been taught yourself, but guess what? No excuse for not teaching your children. So read Proverbs chapter 4 when you get a chance, verses 1 through 9, and then read all the way from, let's read the whole book of Proverbs. It's just a beautiful book as well. It instructs us how to be as children, but it also instructs us how to be as parents. My father had 12 children, 7 daughters, and 5 sons. 12 children. But he raised us, all 12 of us, on his knees. You would think that with that many girls in the family, that they would all be doing the dishes and all the housework, all the ironing and all the sewing, if you will, the laundry. And the boys would be doing all the stuff like taking out the trash and doing all the outside work. Nope, not my father, not my mother. No. My father and mother trained us on their knees. We all had to wash the dishes. We had a whole rotation. We all had to wash the dishes. Watch this. We all had to do the laundry. And I mean do the laundry. I mean separating the clothes from whites to colors and washing them and then folding them. You just don't wash them. You go fold them after you dry them. We all had to clean the house. I mean, we all knew how to clean the house because our father and mother taught us. We knew how to sew and iron. We all knew how to mow the yard. All of us, all the girls as well, all knew how to mow the lawn. We all knew how to put the clutch back in the truck when it came out because you couldn't move if it didn't. So our father taught every single one of us how to put the clutch back in the truck. My sisters are laughing right now, my brothers, because we all remember that truck. We all know how to cook. They taught us all how to cook. You see, that's being trained. Yeah, I know there's chores, but we were trained on their knees how to do it. You had to spend some time with us to teach us how to do all those chores and to do them correctly. That's spending some quality time. Yeah. We knew how to do everything. I mean, everything. We know how to do it all. That's for my father allowing us to be sitting on his knees. I remember this one time my father went to the bank to buy a car. And he took me with him. Now, don't ask me why, but he took me with him. I'm telling you, take your children with you. He took me with him. We went into the bank, and we're talking to the bank's president. And the bank president looks over at me, and he says, "Hey, Donnie, do you know that your father taught me how to buy a car?" And I'm looking like, "How do you teach you how to buy something?" He said, "Your father taught me how to buy a car. He told me, don't ever buy a new car during that season. Wait till the next year and then buy that new car because all the depreciation cost is gone. And you're just paying full cost for the car now. You're not paying all the interest and all the stuff that comes with it." I looked over at my father, and my chest must have swollen, and my shoulders must have rose up. I mean, I just felt so proud of my father that a white man is giving my father a compliment, telling me that my father taught him something. I felt so good. And that's why my father took me with him, because he wanted me to learn business, how he negotiated, because my father could negotiate. You see, my father took me to the bank with a purpose in mind. He was teaching me how to negotiate. He was teaching me how to maneuver in this world. No matter what the color of the man is, it's how he was showing me how to maneuver. He was showing me how crafty and how clever he was. He was raising me on his knees, showing me how to prepare myself for what's to come. Yes, I'm going to have to negotiate with all type of people in this world. We never teach our children who they are. Because if I tell my child all the stuff I've been through, come on, ooh-wee. That's an embarrassment for me. Yeah, my child don't need to know that I was a freak once. Yeah, they don't need to know that. Ooh, mama was a freak. They don't need to know that. Daddy was a freak. Well, they do need to know that, because guess what? Because you're trying to cover your embarrassment now, but you're gonna fall into the embarrassment later when they realize that they are a freak and they don't know how to tell you, but they get caught up in doing freaky things. No, tell them now. Loose the demons within inside of them now by informing them the demons inside of them watch this, before they open the door and a monster comes out. It would be better off if you told them right now what's inside of them. Yeah, equip them with the tools they need to be able to maneuver through those issues, those urges that come up in their life. That's what you need to be doing. Yes. Embarrassed? No, 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 no. Yeah, okay, I get it. But embarrassed on this side is the worst side. Yeah, where you had enough information to share with them where you could have spared them. That's the embarrassment. Share with your children what's inside of you. Yeah, yeah, you've got some stuff inside of you. You've been delivered from some of it. Let's be real. You're still a work in progress. Let them know that as well. It's not over for you. Your season's not over. You're still maneuvering through it, but you have overcome. You went from who you are to who you are because who you are is who you are, but it's not where you are. It's who you are for where you are. Don't forget that. You are at a place now where you are. You've changed locations, but you're still who you are is inside of you. You can't scrub it off. You can't wash it off. It's still you, but the who in you is now in a better place because of the where in you. So let me tell you what we do. We tear a page out of our book, out of our life story, and we give it to them. And we said, this is who we are. Well, guess what? That's a great disconnect because that page you tore out, that page is like a page you put on Facebook and Instagram. It's got everything that's perfect about you. And that's what you're teaching your children about you. See, you're 30, 40, 50 years old, 60 years old, and you're putting all that experience that you've grown up through, you're putting that in front of your child and you said, this is who I am. Well, no, that's not who you are. That's a page you're torn out that you want to show them. That perfection page, that page with no blemishes, no flaws. No. Children don't learn that way. They can't connect the dots from where you came from to where you are. See, who you are is who you are because who you are is where you are. Did you hear what I said? Yeah, all the experiences, all the things you went through in life, that's who you are. You bring that with you. It's where you are. But it's who you are, but it's not where you are as far as your location. In life, you've been redeemed. You've been born again. You've been saved. Yes. But guess what? And you've overcome. But your child can't relate to where you are because they don't know who you are. And so they're lost for who they are. And the sad thing is you don't want to be embarrassed to tell them what you went through. Your father didn't tell you, your mother didn't tell you, your grandfather didn't tell him, his great-grandfather didn't tell him. So we've got this cyclical thing coming down through generation to generation, no one telling each other who they are. And so everyone is lost. No one knows exactly who daddy is or who mother is. No one knows. And so let me tell you what you need to do. Stop showing them the page. Yes, because they can't see the page. There's a disconnect between you and your child. Because isn't it amazing? God tells us the Old Testament story, and he tells us the New Testament story. He doesn't give us a page. He gives us the whole book. And so God wants you to give your whole life story to your children. Yes, as you're raising them on your knees, a great time to share with them the Old Testament of your life, who you were, and who you are, and how you've overcome to where you are now. That's what God wants you to do. Yeah, stop tearing out a page, like you're on Facebook and Instagram. No. This is too important to you and your child. Your child needs to understand your demons. Because if he can understand your demons, he'll understand your grandfather's demon and the great-grandfather's demons. Now she knows what she's dealing with. She knows how to avoid some things in her life so that she won't get caught up. So you've given her a blueprint. You've given her a template to understand that, hey, your daddy used to be a pimp. Yeah, your daddy used to gamble. Your daddy used to steal. Your daddy's been in prison. Yeah. Your daddy was in college and used to cheat on the test. I mean, there's all type of things they need to know about you. And mothers, that's okay that you were a stripper. It's okay, it happened. That's who you were back then. And who you are is who you bring with you, though. Don't get me wrong. You can't scrub it off. You can't wash it off. Yeah, mother, you used to be, let's be for real. You used to be a jealous woman. Yeah, you used to be a hater. You used to gossip a lot. You used to lie. She needs to know all of that because it makes up who she is. It's in her DNA. So your children are thinking like this, like, I must be a bad person because mom and daddy are like saints. They're like saints with this one page they gave us. No, you're not a saint. No. I mean, you might have reformed from being a sinner to a saint. Yeah, you might be there now, but they need to know how you got here. They need to understand how to bridge the old you to the new you so they can understand who they are in you. That's what they need. I pray that you realize your children need all of you. Not a page. No, they need all of you. The Old Testament, the old Donnie and the new Donnie coming together so they can understand how they can complete themselves. You see, that's what you're doing them an injustice if you don't give them all of you. Yes, don't give them some of you. Don't give them some of you. Give them all of you. Yeah, raise them on your knees. Let them see the success story that you've become, but let them understand that this is a journey, that you just didn't get here overnight. No. Baby, daddy and mommy had to live through something. We had to fight through something. Matter of fact, we had to fight each other, off of each other, to get to where we are now. Let your child see that it's important to raise them on your knees, because now they can see they must raise their children on their knees as well. Let's start this new generational thing. Let's start raising our children on our knees. The book of Proverbs is an awesome book because it teaches us how to raise our children, but it also teaches us how to raise ourselves. You'll be blessed. And don't forget Romans 10:9. Confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord, and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, and guess what? You shall be saved. Let's raise up a nation of children being raised on our knees. Be blessed.